Thank you so much for joining with me. We are picking up our reading in Journey Through the Text of A Course in Miracles by Dr. Ken Wapnick, PhD. And this is Chapter 7, The Gift of the Kingdom. Picking up our reading today in the Ego Sphere of the Atonement. The section, The Unbelievable Belief, to which we now turn, contains one of the clearest statements in A Course in Miracles of why the ego is so afraid, reflecting the importance of understanding this aspect of the Course's teaching. This recurring theme in our symphony is in a minor key, for it is not a happy thought. Yet it is vitally important for our learning. Without it, we would not comprehend how and why forgiveness heals and why it is Jesus' central message to us. We have said that without projection there can be no anger, but it is also true that without extension there can be no love. These reflect a fundamental law of the mind, and therefore one that always operates. It is the law by which you create and were created, so we are always extending or projecting. It is the law that unifies the kingdom and keeps it in the mind of God. This has to be understood within the wholeness and unity of the mind of God. His love keeps extending itself, though not over time and space, and we are part of that love. The contents of the mind, capital M, must extend, love creating love, just as the contents of the split mind must project guilt, projections becoming anger, which we now see. To the ego, the law is perceived as means of getting rid of something it does not want. To the Holy Spirit, it is the fundamental law of sharing, by which you give what you value in order to keep it in your mind. To the Holy Spirit, it is the law of extension. To the ego, it is the law of deprivation. It therefore produces abundance or scarcity depending on how you choose to apply it. Jesus is again referring to the principle that what we give, we receive. It is important to remember he is talking about ideas, not materiality. If we give, extend love, that is what is strengthened in our minds. Ideas leave not their source. If we give, project guilt, we reinforce the mind's belief that we have sinned by separating from God. Ideas leave not their source. The difference between the above-mentioned scarcity and deprivation is crucial, for it goes to the heart of projection. Our egos would have us come from a self-perception or lack or scarcity within something is missing in us. What is truly missing is the love of God, our abundant reality as spirit, which the ego will never let us see. It tells us instead you lack something of great value and your brother took it. In this way, the law of scarcity becomes the law of deprivation. The reason something is missing is that someone stole it from us. The ego's fourth law of chaos. You have what you have taken. Deprivation being the projection of the mind's belief in scarcity. We experience abundance or lack depending on the decision maker's choice, and extend or project what we have made real. If we choose abundance, we extend love and forgiveness. If we choose lack, we project sin and guilt. This choice is up to you, but it is not up to you to decide whether or not you will utilize the law. Every mind must project or extend because that is how it lives, and every mind is life. This is the law of the mind, the small mind. If we decide for the Holy Spirit, it is His love that extends, embracing the sonship as a whole. If we decide for the ego, its guilt fragments God's Son, reinforcing the thought of separation that is guilt's origin. Interestingly, Jesus makes the same point earlier in the chapter. What you project or extend is real for you. This is an immutable law of the mind in this world as well as in the kingdom. However, the content is different in this world because thoughts it governs are very different from the thoughts in the kingdom. We either project, miscreate, guilt, or extend, create love within the dream. So we project guilt or extend love. Within the dream, extension becomes forgiveness. The Holy Spirit's means to remove the blocks to awareness of our true function of creating. The Holy Spirit's law of forgiveness is actually a translation or reflection of heaven's law of love, which is beyond our comprehension, let alone our experience. Laws must be communicated if they are to be helpful. In effect, they must be translated for those who speak different languages. Nevertheless, a good translator, although he must alter the form of what he translates, never changes the meaning. In fact, his whole purpose is to change the form so that the original meaning is retained. The Holy Spirit is the translator of the laws of God to those who do not understand them. The content of forgiveness is love, though it is expressed in a translated form we can understand and relate to without fear. Recall an earlier statement of this important theme. The value of the atonement does not lie in the manner in which it is expressed. In fact, if it is used truly, it will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. This means that a miracle to attain its full efficacy must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand without fear. Right-minded focus is always on the mind's content of love, which allows the form of our behavior to be molded to the world's need, reflecting its level of fear. The ego operates in opposite fashion, striving to maintain the forms of separation by constantly changing them in order to preserve its content of separation and protect it from the atonement. This is the heart of the special relationship, and we are going to go into that tomorrow. I thank you so much for joining with me. I love you, and I will see you then.